Here we go. Hashtag. Do you hit the hashtag? Yeah. Got it? Be last 2 seconds and it would be on the stream.
Oh, so
I just read that.
right, and we like. Yes, we are.
Tina,
shall we stand for the count here? It's on one, right?
I've got it here. Yeah. It's a bit of delay.
It's spooky.
We can
See how
probably start
fast
download, can't we? We've got
the
a
past
yeah,
life
here we
is.
go. All right, here we go.
Rākaihautū te uru, Pātaka te hau ki te tonga, kia mana kine ki uta, kia mana taratara, e hira hira te atakura, e tio, e wika, e hōru, te mauriroa.
Thank you, everyone. And just a welcome to everybody who's online right now. And I hope everybody's having a good day. It's a beautiful day here at Rākaihautū. I love the autumn leaves. It just feels so encouraging to see the bright colours everywhere. We've got apologies from Howard and Luana, and Tyrone is attending via Zoom. If I could have a move for that. Hi Tyrone, good to see you.
Lovely.
Yes. Kathy and we've got Nigel, second. Thank you. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. And as always, if there's a declaration of interest, either mention it now, if you've seen it in the agenda, or as we are discussing it. Thank you very much. Moving on to confirmation of previous minutes. The last meeting was here. Can I have a mover for that, please? Arthur and Nigel seconding.
Yeah, follow that.
All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. So public forums today or deputation flight equipment, there's nobody in the room. I need to ask if they'd like to say anything. So we'll move right on to reserve committee meeting minutes. I think Penelope is going to present that. Thank you.
Yep. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets of minutes, and I didn't take a note of what I was going to even say about those. That's really bad, isn't it?
What page are we at?
Scrolling through them. Happy to take questions on any of the minutes. They're all ticking along really nicely. Some triennial plans are still to come in, working with those and park staff, working with the committees and park staff on those. Yeah.
Yeah, do we have any questions about those reserve committee meeting minutes?
Oh, I've just got a quick question. It's kind of not really about the minutes, but sort of is about the minutes.
Yeah, fire away, Tyrone.
Through you, Madam Chair. Just the recreation ground management committee, reserve committee. Do they get a chance to submit on the dog bylaw?
Yes, they certainly could. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Will they be encouraged to do that?
Yes, definitely.
Oh yeah, sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
Good question. Yeah.
Yeah. We will.
So that's any reserve committees can make a submission to the dog bylaw review. Is that what you're asking?
Well, particularly the Littleton Rec Ground Committee.
Yeah,
because
just
they're
that one in
right
particular,
side,
really. Yeah.
and they have that particular issue with dogs fouling on the ground there. So yeah, we will make sure that they are completely aware of that, Tyrone.
Just another question, if possible. We're just with the Littleton Reserve Committee, so the Urdimo, the one that deals with Urdimo, where did we get with the spraying that happened there over the summer?
Yep. Well, staff provided a response to that when that query first came in, that they were only.
Oh, I must have missed it.
All the details. Yeah, it was a long time ago that they were only spray where absolutely necessary. They're very aware of new plantings and plants that you don't want to be spraying. But there were some pieces of old man's beard, particularly, that were really, really heavy, and that they needed to use it on those places. So yeah, they have a really clear process and system for making sure that they don't damage, and that they do target the species that they want to. Yeah, the old man's beard particularly had been really it got away in a few places. It was very dense.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess there was just a lot of at the time, there was quite a lot of pushback, I suppose, that had to be managed. And I mean, we still get as other people that have concerns, are they? I just kind of want to know where the level of comfort's at.
Yeah, well, it's comfortable because we haven't received any more issues back.
Comfortable level of comfort.
So what they did was they provided a letter with the information back to the people who had written in, and they also did a letterbox drop around. I'm pretty sure they did a letterbox drop around Foster Terrace, so that the comms on that was really good.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
We'll make sure that you get it.
No, that's. I mean, I probably just missed it. I just thought I'd just raise it because it's kind of it was a key issue there. Yeah. And I mean, are we comfortable that they're on top of the problem now, or is it still an ongoing?
No, look, I can remember in the letter, Paul Devlin saying that it would be some time with the old man's beard. It would have to be a process over time. With those heavily infested areas. Yeah.
I mean, normally, yeah, again, there's a level of comfort that normally when people have concerns, they're not backwards and coming forward. So the fact that it has been relatively quiet on that front would indicate to me that things are going okay.
Yeah.
Other board members may have a comment, I don't know.
Yeah, thank you.
Madam Chair, just another comment, which was not related to the use of pests, the Roundup, was that there was the comment by Winnie Everingham. She had contacted me about what she termed unauthorised tracks, which is put through the council system.
Oh, yes.
And yet to go back to her with a reply about that.
Yep. So that's.
So your concern was about unauthorised tracks being
built.
Being built.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. In that same part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unauthorised. Maybe just through you, Madam Chair, if I may. Unauthorised tracks are not a problem. Are an issue. Yes, not just particular to Urdimo. They tend to spring up all over the place. I know that Summer Road Society has a lot of issues with them as well. So it is just a bit of it's one of those, insidious little things that happens. But yeah, it's something that we do need to keep on top of.
Good point. Thank you. Any other comments or questions from staff in regards to the Reserve Committee meeting minutes?
If this is just on Cass Bay, just with the, do we have a, I think we're going to hear back on the asbestos situation
Yes, yeah.
soon, are we?
Yes.
Are we getting briefed on that, or what's?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
sweet. So
Was that your question as well, Katie?
No.
What was your question?
Just on Casbah, on one of the reserves, I don't see it in the minutes here, it's probably coming, but an issue about the reserves and just a little bit of a resident or two kind of taking a little bit of reserve space, and I think that's kind of gone through the system of SNAPSAN, yeah, so it's just.
Okay, can you bring that up again at the elected members exchange as well?
Yeah.
That would be good. Thank you. Can I have a mover for those minutes to be accepted, please? Kathy, and a seconder? All those in favour? Against? And that's carried. Thank you. And then we're moving on to head walkway roofing party notes.
And I can do those because Natasha is also not here, and of course Tyrone is the chair of this walkway working party. So between us, we're happy to take any questions.
How's it going?
Are we there yet?
You will see there are some minutes attached from last year and also from the March meeting.
So what would you like to add about that, Tyrone?
I'm comfortable that we're moving along in a much, we're making more consistent and timely progress, I think. So yeah, just happy with the way things are running. I want to make sure that we keep funding on for the head-to-head walkway. You may wish to consider that in your board submission to the LTP. And yeah, that just really seems to me, I mean, from my perspective, I mean, Natasha's running it really well. Kim, who's and Nick, who are the council staff responsible for delivery, are working really well together. So yeah, I'm really positive about how it's progressing. There are going to be some tricky bits that are going to take a very long time to resolve. Notably, from Casbah to Governor's Bay is always going to be hard, but I feel like it's kind of coming together. Yeah.
Nice. So talking about joining those two ends, is it across that particular area? Is that what you're saying in Casbah and Governor's Bay?
I suppose there's quite. I mean, the way that the route organically happened is you know, it goes through Casbah, down the bottom below Casbah, and then pathway up to Pony Point. The pathway up to Pony Point from Casbah is basically like it's never going to. It cannot be the future of the head-to-head walkway because A, it's not necessarily safe, subject to erosion and all sorts of things, and we know that. But there are kind of alternative routes that are presenting themselves through what's happening in the Steadfast Reserve, and yeah, just conversations that are kind of just happening, I guess. So I guess the idea of the route of the head-to-head going from Casbah through Rāpaki, the way it was going was never going to work. But an alternative route is slowly starting to emerge, I would say.
Well, that's good. That's encouraging to hear, because it's just so much to work through to get that done. So you guys are doing a great job, Kathy.
Thanks, Lynn. Tyrone, just wanted to note that meeting there when staff talked about signage as well around the Time Ball and Littleton and going down to Naval Point around there with those signages. I thought that was a really good start to, you know, to show some clear links with the walk around Naval Point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really good to note.
The route through Naval Point is not really, you know, that's not really official, Kathy. Like that's kind of, and so that's not likely to be the official route anytime soon, but you know, it's kind of there and we're aware of it. But signage through the town and stuff, like I know that, that Kim and Nick and had been working with the business association and sort of stuff just to try and clarify some of the signage there. I'm not sure where that's at, but like that was kind of a just a bit of low-hanging fruit that we felt that they could prioritise just to get that sorted. And so yeah, I'll get an update at the next meeting, I guess.
That's good. That's a great update. Thank you. Appreciate
It's going
it.
okay.
Yeah, great. Unless there's any other.
Well, actually, probably just the other thing I'd comment on is like, saying as we don't often discuss these notes, is that there's just been really good progress on some of the, like Paul Dahl in particular, if you know Paul, lives in Pūtau, he's been doing a lot of work with landowners and stuff to try and figure out ways to get from Pūtau to Adderley Head, to actually, like, you know, to get to that other head that doesn't have any pathway to it at the moment. So there's been really, really good progress there. Yeah, what else? Yeah, the Charters Bay residents have been quite proactive, and like I think that there's just a more willingness to sort of like just map out routes and just try and kind of sketch them out and get something in place, rather than do the all singing, all dancing pathway. And I think that that's actually like just paying some dividends, and people who are on the working party are feel more empowered that they can, working with staff to figure out good routes, and talk to the necessary landowners and that sort of stuff to just try and kind of make it happen, rather than having to wait for things to go through, you know, the bureaucratic machine. So I think it's a lot more of a nimble sort of a approach we're getting at the moment. So yeah.
And that sounds great. Like lots of people moving in the same direction and those relationships.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I I hasten to add, there's nothing slapdash about it. it's all being done very, very well, but just in a more nimble way. Yep.
What's that thing? All good things take time, you know?
Cheese making.
No, that's awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, so can I have someone to move those notes, please? Kathy, and a seconder. Yeah, Gillian, thank you. And all those in favour?
Right.
Against? Thank you very much, team. And I think we might have Christine go online already, but she's coming on Zoom to talk to us about the proposed tree removal in Milton Recreation Grounds. Are you there, Christine?
Yes.
Welcome.
Yeah. Can you see me?
Yeah, good morning.
Great. Hello. Good morning.
Morning.
Should I just launch in?
Yep, the floor is yours.
I'll share my screen. I haven't done this in Zoom in a while. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Cool. So yeah, so I'll just kind of, I guess instead of reading the report, I'll just sort of explain what's going on, because we don't often look to remove trees. We're trying to add more. So this is in relation to the works that are happening currently. What is that? With stage 3. So obviously what we're calling stage 3, which is the rec grounds, as well as this kind of cut through that we've talked about in the past. And so essentially with the rec ground field project nearing completion, so just put the slide up, so it shows where we're going. We'll see these fields, and this is basically all been in green now, and all this grass has been sown. And we're just really lining up at this stage where these courts are going and how that's being laid out. And so that's going really well. And what we did do was make a change and added the change pavilion into this area. It was previously in this location. And so with the change pavilion coming into this location, it meant we had to sort of shimmy things around a little bit. And what it's meant is that the trees on this boundary, I'm just going to photo them here, just flip between these trees here, we're actually needing to do works in the drip line to achieve this court layout. So it means that we would need to remove them to finish this work. So they actually probably need to be doing that pretty soon. Just as a bit of a reminder, this is kind of a bit of a view of what, where we're going, I guess there. Don't ignore those trees. It's obviously just a visual. That's the Scouts. This would be the netball court. This is the new Change Pavilion, etc. And a view of the Change Pavilion. So it's going to be, it's going to be a great outcome. But I guess, unfortunately, to get there, we do need to remove some trees. So we have been talking to Ngāti Wheki because we're actually quite keen. We're working on a kind of a new planting strategy for the entire site, which really brings us more towards, this is an early version, but increasing the canopy cover, getting a bit more of an integrated plan that kind of ties that whole connection down the side of the field and towards the coast, as well as ultimately what we'll be doing is also looking to replace these trees. We're not there yet. We're looking to do that through the urban tree plan and work with our council arborists and do some communication on it. But this phase of work that we're doing now, we're actually looking at, really to improve these, get more planting and increase the canopy cover, which is why our arborists were comfortable with signing off this report. But it does mean that those trees just shown there have to be removed. We have been talking to Scouts as well because we want to make sure they were quite aware that this was happening. They're not, I wouldn't say they're, overjoyed to have the loss of the trees, but they do understand the need for it. And we've been working with them. We've had a few meetings with them. I'm actually meeting with them tomorrow night again to talk about how we can create some nice play spaces for the kids in and around this area as a part of the new landscape design work. So there's about 6 trees that need to come out. It's kind of hard to tell. There's probably 4 main ones. They're not in the best of shape. So the trees do have a canker. They can live with a canker for, upwards of 20 years, but they are definitely in decline, as you can see from some of the dead growth. There is a ropes course that exists in these trees that was installed by Scouts, but it actually starts around this tree here and moves over from there. So it really just kind of connects through these ones. And it's really just strictly due to the fact that we need to really get right into that boundary there. So we have had permission. We've sat down with our council arborists. We've looked at tree reports done for it, and so there is support for it. And we're just coming to the community board to ask permission to cut these trees down. So it would be in the next few weeks potentially, based on the construction schedule. The sports field is pretty much done. The court construction will start in the next couple of weeks, and it's estimated to be complete for May 2024. We know that Littleton Rugby is having their 100th anniversary. So it was quite a firm deadline that would be accessible and usable for that. We'll be starting construction of the Change Pavilion. We're looking at this September to start, with it being done, say, April next year to be safe. And then the phasing of the landscape works that we're showing kind of in and around here. We're just looking at the timing for that with the Change Pavilion being under construction, but we are looking to have that, so I sort of said conservatively starting it sort of next March to May next year. So there's a few things going on. This is just, I guess, a bit of quite a key step, I suppose, in moving that forward. So yeah, that's what I know. Any questions?
Julian,
Yes, this is, I'm sure, ancient history to you, but I don't know what the answer is. But the original location, why was that then? I mean, and the pictures all look lovely, but why was that shifted? Can you?
Change Pavilion. Originally, it was there's some new facilities looking to be constructed towards the coastal edge. The idea was to create a connection between the future facilities that are just still being discussed with a lot of user groups, as well as with the Change Pavilion, because Rugby was at one point looking to build a second story where they would put maybe some kind of a bar or a club or a clubhouse or something. But now they're actually looking to potentially share those facilities with other facilities on the site. So they had moved the buildings closer. The buildings were shown closer so that there could be a better connection. But ultimately, looking at it, it really didn't make sense to have the Change Pavilion for the fields kind of off the corner of the fields. And so it was quite a logical adjustment. But yeah, definitely, unfortunate in terms of the need to remove trees.
Scott from the come on in.
Are you still with public forum?
No,
Sorry, we're on Zoom, so at a public forum. Sorry.
So, sorry, Gillian, did that answer your question? Or did you mean why was it moved from across the other side of the field on the road over to where it is now?
No, it was why was it moved from where it was shown
The
on that
corner.
plan?
Ah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I can see here that the Scouts, one of their goals looks like they want to have more trees and outdoor adventure play natural areas. Is that planned landscaping that you've got for the next phase? Is that going to be, are they happy with that area being a possible area for using and achieving their goals?
Yeah, so we've been working with them. We've had a couple of sessions. We actually met with the Cubs and the Scout groups separately because there's 2 different age groups involved. As well as we had a separate meeting with the leaders just about that this was happening and how we can work together. Currently, the area that's around there is a little bit unkempt. I mean, they're all volunteers, so the grass doesn't get cut, and it sort of gets left a little bit. So the idea is that it brings that into the landscape, and there'll be more people moving through there. So how do we work with them to make sure, I guess, that their area is still secure, but they're also quite happy for people to access and use it, and then what that looks like in the future. So that's what we're working through with them. So we've got another meeting with the leaders tomorrow night just to review what we've heard from the kids. We had some pretty crazy ideas as well. There was a marshmallow vending machine and a water slide, and but we love that. We love to hear all the different ideas. But I think there's some pretty good practical options, even just being able to use the pathway that we're creating and the shapes to be able to skateboard and move through that area. Lots more trees.
Right.
A cycle path and things like that. So that's what we want to talk to the scout leaders about. But yeah, no, I had a follow-up conversation with Ruth Targus last week as well, and she was quite comfortable. I mentioned again to her that we were coming to this forum and that to make sure there's no issues from their perspective. So yeah.
One more question, which was about, so you mentioned about the rest of the trees in that lineup, and how they would be considered under the urban tree plan. Because I remember, I think, a year or so ago, when the first plan came out for that area, that all those trees were going to be taken away, but that sounds like an old plan where there was a road, something going along there. So that urban tree plan, do you have any idea about the time frame of how long that takes?
No, so we're just working. So I've just become aware that it's a program we can work with. So when I met with the ecologist, it's Toby Chapman who's the one that runs it, and so he mentioned that this was an option because initially with the development plan we were going to remove all those trees and make room for the sports fields, partially because the trees are all exotic and they're in decline. So the feeling was we could use that space a bit better, but when they came and designed them, they didn't need to remove them, so they retained them. Which is fine. And so, but we are now looking at the fact that they're probably not a long-term feature of the site. And so working with Toby, we've been talking about some succession planting for that area. But the idea with the new urban tree plan is that we would do community consultation on it. So these trees that we're talking about today, these 6 trees need to come out to allow us to construct the new netball courts. But the idea is that with the rest of them, we would do some community consultation on that, just make sure the community is aware of it, because they are a strong feature of the area and we don't want to just remove them without discussion. So that would allow us to have some more time on that. So I wouldn't see any plans coming out for at least a few months. And the removal of them, there's no time frame on that. There's nothing tied to it from the construction side of things. There's no road needing to come through there. We previously had a road that connected along the western side of the field, running north to south. So that has been removed. That was a little bit about the QRA and the potential that we may need to not use Godley Key at times due to the risk with the tank farm. But that's actually been resolved over the last couple of years. So now we're including a pedestrian pathway through there that will also allow maintenance vehicles at times, and sort of picks up on the conversation that was mentioned about the head-to-head walkway. So walkers, we're creating 3 walkways for people to move through there as well at times. So yeah, there's been a few changes, I suppose, from the development plan in 2020, but we think it's all positive.
Yeah.
All right, let's see, you've got your hand up there.
Oh, yep, thank you. Hi, Christine. Just on the sports fields, this is not really a tree related question, but do we know the dimensions yet of what the football field and the junior rugby field are going to be?
Yes.
You can rule that out of order, Madam Chair, if you like.
Yeah, that's been communicated.
Yes, we do need to, sorry, Christine, we do need to move on. We've been a bit short of time. I think there might be one or two more questions here at the table.
I'll forward those on to you.
Thank you.
My just a subsequent little question about the trees was, I guess I've always thought they provide a lot of shelter. You know, it's a very exposed area down there, and just whether that's being considered as part of the overall plan, especially when you're playing netball or something right there.
Yeah, so we are looking to replace, and that's part of what we're looking at in terms of succession planting and what that looks like. Oddly enough, when we first proposed removing the trees, we found out about the canker and the decline. I was quite nervous about mentioning it to the Reserve Management Committee, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's fine. Those trees, you know, the wind comes from the other direction anyway, so we're actually quite keen to reinstate trees both along that boundary and to use natives and ones that will be healthier, as well as along Godby Quay to the east. Because my understanding from the players is that it's actually the winds coming from the east in the winter time that are the most impactful. But that's why as well we're not looking to remove other trees at the same time. We sort of looked at a timing for it so we can help provide some shelter. But it is a pretty exposed site. Those trees do provide some shelter, but it's definitely limited.
I can vouch from a great deal of experience playing on that ground that those trees do not provide any shelter from the hardcore winds that come. Yeah, they come from end to end, but not in that direction.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's great.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, Christine. I think we'll go to the floor here and ask for a mover in regards to approving the tree removals that we talked about today. At that point, Nigel, and seconded, please. Thank you, Kathy. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Thank you very much for your time, Christine. All the best with the developments. It seems to be moving along so well and so much great stuff coming out there. So I really appreciate your time.
Good cheese.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Okay, good to see you.
Yeah, bye.
But we've had a request. Yes, Victoria. We've got 5 minutes. We can fit you in.
I wanted to welcome the new community board member to the table and say congratulations. Yesterday, Mrs. Guthrie stopped me and asked about the flag at River Memorial because she lives right above it. And apparently the Union Jack has been taken down and a flag that is blue with circles on it has been reinstated in its place. And that is a council site and a council facility. It's a very, very important historic site. And by rights, it should have a reasonable condition Union Jack flying. And when I drove past yesterday, I couldn't clearly see it. It's a blue flag with a circle in the middle. And the only thing I could find online that was similar was the United Nations flag. So I don't know if somebody has put up a NATO flag.
I think it's a World Peace flag.
No, it's planet Earth.
On Facebook.
It's planet Earth.
Planet Earth, okay. Well, just to bring to your attention, some of the neighbors in the area are questioning who did it and was it authorized by Christchurch City Council? And so far they've tried to contact the parks team, but there's been no response.
Interesting.
So if you wouldn't mind looking into it.
So looks like us can is that right?
Yeah, I have. I learned about it last week. So the parks team I have contacted, they were going to do it either on Friday, but the team was in Darwin Harbour side. So they said that Monday they would definitely take it down. And council wasn't aware of that, and it was put down illegally. Apparently they must have put quite a bit of effort in lowering the whole pole down to take it, replace it, because it's not an easy way to mount a different flag.
I understand it's got a key, so.
Yeah, so it wasn't council.
Yeah, I don't have any objections, but for consistency's sake, the council needs to be aware of the situation. So that's
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Got my email? I
yes,
sent
we
you.
did. Yeah, we did. Thank you. Otherwise, we would have been unaware.
Yes.
Right, moving on to the discretionary response application for the Littleton Toy Library, and I believe we've got Andrea online. Hello.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So yes, you've got an application in front of you for a coordinator role and purchase of a label printer and barcode reader for the Littleton Toy Library. Previously, this has been run by Plunkett, but towards the end of last year, they've withdrawn from this service and it's been picked up as a community asset. It brings a lot of value to the local community. All the information I have is been put in the assessment. Has anyone got any questions for me?
Yeah, fantastic.
It's a
Toy
good-
library is just a wonderful
Yeah.
resource to have in any community, and it's fantastic someone's put their hand up to manage that. So I want to encourage that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions?
No, it's good.
No, but as an ex-toy library member, yeah, I think it's a very worthy thing to keep going in the community.
Yeah. Great. Well, that sounds all very positive. We would like to move that something.
I'll move it.
I can move it. Yeah. Oh, Tyrone, thank you. Nigel, you're going to be a seconder.
I'm happy to do that.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
And it's carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Quickly. Thank you, Andrea. It was short and sweet, but lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we've got another DRF from the Little River Support Group. I understand we've already talked about this a little bit in one of our last meetings, but is Jane? Hi, Jane.
Hiya, nice to see you all.
I see you too.
Okay, so yes, you have an application in front of you for the Little River Support Group. The first thing to say about this is this application came in at the end of last year before the swimming season started. The group here, the swimming pool's run by the school for the school children, but over the summer period, it is opened up to the community to use in weekends and throughout the summer holiday period. We have traditionally provided funding for a small amount for the caretaker and some of the pool chemicals and things that they need through the Strengthening Communities Fund. Last year, this group had quite a change in their leadership and membership, and at the same time, I was on long-term sick leave when Strengthening Communities applications were done. So normally I would have, followed up and chased them up, and I wasn't able to. Another staff member took over my funding applications, but they didn't have the information to chase these people up. So that's why it's come into DRF. And the other thing that you may be wondering is why is it come in at this stage when the swimming season is finished, and that's because they did put the application in last year. Before the season started, by the time that happened and it had been processed, there were no more board meetings for the year. This application should have come to your last meeting, and I just have to put my hand up that it fell through the cracks. I was really, really busy. So there's nothing that the group did that broke our rules, and talking with Pen, it's fine for us to be considering it now. Because it's not a retrospective application, it's an application that's got to you late, and that's my responsibility, not the fault of the group at all. So having all of that out of the way, are there any questions about the application?
That's not like it. Looks like there's great support, and I can speak personally to the wonderful use of that form as well. And yeah, thank you for coming and talking to us and explaining the reasons for this, but that seems very legitimate, and yeah, I'm happy to move that if someone would like to second it.
Also.
Yes, all those in favour?
Right.
Anybody against? That's carried.
Lovely, thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Through. What have we got next? We've got board area report.
Oh. Well, I can lead that on behalf of the whole team, and the team can pitch in if they so desire. You see there's been plenty of work going on there. The toilets, can I just mention the Little River toilets? I know that they were complete prior to Easter, and then what happened was there was a power cut over Easter, which didn't automatically reset the water pump. There was water, but it appeared as though they ran out of water on the busy Easter weekend. The water was there, but the power hadn't reset properly. Fortunately, the portaloos were still in situ, so it wasn't a disaster. There was plenty of resource there, but it's just that it was the portaloos still. However, they have they're fixing. They were going out after that. They've done something to make sure that that power cut reset thing doesn't happen again.
I have an update on that during the meeting exchange.
Oh, okay. I hope it's a positive one. Yeah. So Little River, Water River Community Trust have been doing great things with their consulting around the Little River Big Ideas community plan and refreshing and gathering ideas and having lots of discussions about those. And then there's lots of other things. We're all organised for Anzac Day. The community is all organised for Anzac Day. And then your governance stuff. So do we have what questions do we have around the area report?
I guess the Anzac Day, the costs of the Anzac Day, or we've sort of given them money for the different services and follow-ups. And do you think that would is enough? I mean, with inflation and stuff.
Are you talking about the Akarawa services?
I'm thinking, I know Akarawa struggles with it.
Oh, well, they told us, we checked up after you made that comment last time, we checked up and they said that they were fine.
They were fine, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks, Nigel.
That's okay.
We did follow up with them and they seemed to think it was under control.
Just a question around, I guess, when is the end of the year for discretionary response fund and strengthening communities? Is that?
Yep. So, well, strengthening communities is a once a year thing.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Yep, so that you will allocate that in the new financial year. Your decision meeting is in August. It's your August meeting. You'll decide strengthening communities. And DRF works on your actual June to July year. So you still have a balance left in there at the moment, less what came out today. And if there is still money left at the end of July, that carries forward to your New Year's DRF. However, we've got a few applications in the background that are still being assessed for that fund. So I would expect you'll have probably less than 10,000, maybe 15 stretch in there, but there are some things bubbling away. So the staff have been working with groups on an ongoing basis.
So the discretionary response fund allocations we gave today, I noticed that the amount that has been the balance hasn't taken into account both of those because we didn't necessarily know we were going to accept both of those. So I'm just wondering off the top of my head now, with both of those accepted, what is our balance?
Okay, well that would be 33. Yep, 33,000. Take off the two chunks that just were given.
Yeah,
which were 3,000. No, 2,000 for the pool. So that makes it 31. And then the other one, I think in the report, actually, I think the figures in the report were correct. Yeah. So you'll have $29,653 left. Is that right? Just under 30.
Yeah. At the moment, it is 33.
So there's a 2 and a 2.
Yeah.
Great, that's good to know. Then a couple of other things working in the background there. Right. Good. Any other questions? Everybody's really happy.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Tyrone?
Good job.
Do I have any questions? No, not at all.
Just
further to the question before about the asbestos, there is an email on the end of the report.
Yeah, I just saw that.
I was there. Oh, thanks, Liz.
Yeah. 64.
So they've done a basic test, but next they're doing a test to see the levels. Is that right? And to see how much asbestos is in it. And it looks like it's on all of the buildings except for the garage.
Yes, I think so, and around some of them.
Right. It does look like that from the map, but it's hard to tell exactly where a shed is in a building is, because I don't know off the top of my head. Kathy, can you speak into that a little bit more, maybe?
No,
I'm
just
sorry.
processing too. But yeah,
The full report,
follow it,
so that's
yeah.
good. It's just to keep us up to date. Yes, us collectively, community included. Okay. Well, unless there's any more comments or questions in regards to the area report.
No questions.
Move on. To elected members information.
Someone needs to.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, was something?
No, it's all good. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, I'll
Move
move.
and second. You've got a question.
yeah. So it's just kind of way back, just a couple of edits that I have wrote when I read the whole thing, but it's like way past, I think. No, just on page 10 and page 12, just I think there was a write-up on last members exchange, the litter pickup. It just coincided with port noise, and the other thing that happened on page 10 was just to add Littleton Harbour Business Association.
Was this
So
in the
just
minutes or
edits.
something?
Yeah, and the way back
they're
there,
right.
just like I didn't turn, I just turned my page and like, oh, there's a couple of things I should have seen. But yeah, I can second that one.
So, yeah, good opportunity to bring it up as if we were talking about.
Yeah,
minutes.
if we were.
But
True.
today.
Way gone. No, it's all right. That's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, we do need to give a second to accept the area report. Thanks, Kathy. All in favour? And that's carried. Thank you very much. Now we're on to the elected members information concern. I think we're all bursting to say what's been going on in all individual areas and all naming this. Shall I start?
You start.
Yes. Okay. What have we got? Well, Pumpkin Fest yesterday, amazing weather. It went along for a little while to help out at the Little River Wairewa Community Trust stall with their survey for the Little River Big Ideas. So many people, like I have not seen that many people in the domain before, all at once. They ran out of parks, and I imagine it's a fantastic fundraiser for the school. It's the main fundraiser for the local school. And I'm hoping that they will be very happy with that. They should be. It was amazing. And lots of people contributing ideas to the survey about moving forward for Wairewa and the area. Dreaming big, because that's the only way to go really if you wanted to keep things improving, and a lot of people saying what they wanted, but also what they wanted to keep the same, which I think is a really interesting thing to keep in mind as well. With, you know, things moving forward in the future, lots of changes, but there's also lots that you want to retain. So that was really, really good to hear all that feedback. Just recently we had rural support gathering at the domain again with Matt Chisholm. It was very entertaining. It was very well attended, talking about how to cope with things when things get hard. And there was plenty of talk about potential things that are hard, especially in the southern bays as things are getting dry and there's becoming a lack of food for farmers and their stock. So that's a bit of a concern moving into winter time, that there is a lack of feed. And with the economy as it is, so it's keeping a close eye on our rural farmers there. And just a bit of an update on the toilets. It's moving forward very well, but I've heard and I've also known people who have done CSRs and SNAPs themselves that it is intermittent supply of water, whether there's just not enough water coming in for the amount that's going out, but sometimes the water runs and sometimes it doesn't. So we're still working on that. And that's about it for me in my area. Thank you. Nigel,
I'll get a jump on them. It was great wellbeing hui on Saturday. It was well attended, and Asif was there. Also, the local MP came along. It's a good event. It's not hugely attended, but there is it does offer some pretty good service to people and support to people with wellbeing hui. I'll let Asif talk about the sports people. We've got the Tears of Roy Martha exhibition coming up now. We've actually got a date for it. I can't tell you what it is, but that's looking really, really good. A good collaboration. Tears of Roy Martha. Roy Martha was Mahara Nui's daughter who was killed.
A museum exhibition.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. It's going to be an early morning blessing. And I guess a big thing was the Paddy's Market. This has been going for around 40 odd years. And it's a really great fundraiser for the community. And it runs at the same time as a book sale for at the bowling club, and between them they raise over $20,000 a year, which is a great thing. That's about all I've got to say about that.
so Paddy's Market, that's once a year, or is it a regular?
It's a once a year thing. Yeah, people donate items, like a lot of back owners. There's quite a transient population here, and they're always donating stuff, and it's stored out at Pātaka in the old immigration building, and then they load it all up on the wreck and have an auction. They have a big white elephant sale alongside it as well.
Yeah, and I bought a cabinet.
You bought a cabinet? Good. I spent about $160.
Yeah. So it was really good. Well attended, and same hui was really good. So all rural fire brigades, 5 rural fire brigades, they had their AGM recently at Accra, so it was well attended, and so we might see some submissions from there, from these brigades at some stage. The flag, as I mentioned earlier, so it will be hopefully taken down today, and if council wasn't aware of that, and some of them, they have put quite a bit of effort in replacing it, and we don't know what happened with Union Jack flag, and hopefully some precautionary measures will be taken in the future so that to prevent such things. LTP, I have been in contact with quite a number of community groups and individuals, so we'll see quite a number of submissions from Accra and the base.
Yes.
One good thing, just want to mention Victoria and myself raised, there was a water leak on Rākaihautū. It was addressed really well, and fast, and thank you about that for staff and the CSR team. Harvest Festival is coming up on 20th of April, and that is the fundraising for Accra Sports Court. So sports court, sports complex. So it's on 20th, and there's a donation of $5 entry. So there will be some food stalls and other things. So if you like that evening, so that will be really good. So that's all from me. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Tara, you're next in the circle.
Oh, yep. I think probably the first thing I want to say is that I don't know if, most of you probably would have caught up with the news over the weekend about the po whenua that was stolen up on the Summit Road. It was overlooking Littleton Harbour. That Kane Towhare had carved for the John Jameson lookout. I don't know if you saw that news, but so that was pretty horrible to hear, really. And I just think it's just such a tragedy. If you consider what happened with the po at Pony Point a few years ago, and where it was destroyed. This has been stolen. I don't know if it's who knows what the perpetrator's done with it. But it's just such a horrible thing to occur. So yeah, just thought I'd just note that. From my point of view, probably most of it's already been said already, but look, I'm just donkey deep in LTP work at the moment, really, just trying to promote it as far, like I'd really just encourage us to work through our networks and just get submissions into that LTP process. All the different reserve, all the different committees, all the different community associations. There are lots of them, and just encourage people to constructively feedback on that. So yeah, there's probably not a lot else from me, really.
Thanks, Tyrone.
Me? Yeah. I do have a small list of things. Some of them are kind of minor. And so the first one I'd already mentioned was earlier in the meeting, but maybe I mention it here again, was just about the email about the Urumo and checking out what should and shouldn't be happening there in terms of trail building. Another query was about that I received was about a subdivision on Daly's Lane in Littleton, and about the effects of that on especially residents on Dudley Road, where there's proposed, I think, to have some access, but yeah, haven't got to the bottom of that yet.
Can I just jump in really quickly on that, Gillian? Yeah, I've asked some questions about that, and I haven't heard anything back, so yeah, it might be useful for you and I just to line up on that.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I did go to the Littleton Emergency Hub meeting about the earthquake. So that was their first meeting. It was on the 21st of March. And that was pretty well attended. And I mean, we kind of a little bit experts, a little bit, anyways, on earthquakes, but it was still quite good to go, and also to support Penelope, who's organising that. Of course, we've had LGP since our last meeting. Just that tiny event, enormous event, and everything that went with that. And there's a lot that could be said about that, but perhaps I won't say too much about it overall. But I would say seemed, yes, that overall it was a success, but it's brought up a lot of issues as well. So, yeah. Also, just on that LTP submissions and things, so there was some talk about the community association in Littleton doing something, but my understanding is that they've decided no, they won't push that, but we have got this council organised meeting on the, well, availability for people to find out more about the LTP on the 17th of April, I think, at Littleton. I mean, it's all around the city, but that's the date in Littleton, so that would be quite useful. Yeah. Yeah. And the only other point I had here was about there's been talk about a rainbow crossing in Littleton, but no progress on that at the moment, and of course very mixed responses in the community about whether that was a good idea or not. So that was kind of on the back of discussions around the country and what's been happening in places like Gisborne, etc.
No, just do church down here, is it?
So you may not know the answer to this, but just because you put up about the SailGP, one of the community's concerns, especially the sailing community, was that the area was going to be tidied up as quickly as possible afterwards for access to be maintained. Did that get done?
Yep, I saw a post by Neighbour Point Club, and the ramp was open during the Easter Thursday. Yeah, and I think there was no negative feedback as far as I. Yeah, so it's good to bring up. It's going to bring it up.
Yeah,
sorry, that was your point.
Yeah, no, great, no, good.
Yeah. No, so I think it's good to note the positive things that happened that were positive as a result of that too, and that's definitely one of them. So, yeah. That's me. I'm finished.
Cool. Yeah. I think we covered quite a lot in our area. Yeah, I think so. Just one thing about the SailGP, I didn't realize it had been that long. But just one comment on the Friday, which probably if they wanted to do more feedback, was on the street on the Friday when they had practice day. the bay roads were chocker and the police were out and they even were talking about, oh my gosh, Friday just really triggered
Yeah.
something. So just to add into, in the planning stuff, is the Friday is now something that we'll have to consider. Just want to note with the Littleton community conversations, they are including a fence whole topic there, which is really timely because I see this government is not keen to put much into fence, but that was like a whole radio talk on RNZ about it. So it's really good that Littleton would like to have that whole fire thing as part of their community conversation. And that's on the 23rd of April, 6:30 at 40 Winchester Street. During Sail GP, the Australian sail crew were going to do some track work in Cass Bay, but they didn't show up. But the community showed up anyway, and that was the Littleton Scouts and Pigeon Bay Yacht Club. So we joined them in doing some track work up at Pony Point. So that was quite fun. And the kids loved it. Yeah, the kids. Yeah, they were, so, that was what it was, but, they should have showed up. And about the CSR for Cass Bay Reserve is just one of the walkways between Corsia and Cass, I think, just to escalate or just talk a little more about the CSR, about the reserve and just some kind of extra kind of tracks or things that shouldn't be there. But I think the reserves committee will kind of dig deeper into that one.
So have they done a CSR? Sorry.
They have, and I've escalated it. So
Okay,
it's just
fine. Okay, you'll be escalating.
just making sure
Yep.
that it's still
Yeah.
and the
Thank
system.
you.
That's it. Thank you.
Some really great, exciting stuff and things to work on and things.
Can I just check in, because I've just been catching up on a couple of things while you've been going around. So the Coastal Hazards Panel, which Luana is the board representative on, meets this Wednesday evening and she can't make that. So Kathy, I don't know if it's.
Oh, yeah, what time on Wednesday?
Yeah, it's 5:30 to 8:30 on Wednesday evening in the boardroom.
8:30. I think I could possibly stay till 7, if that works.
Right.
Yeah, I just have something at 7:30 I need to be here.
Well, Gillian?
I will be going.
Oh, you'll be going, because of course you are. I knew that.
Yeah,
I
so
knew
if
that.
possible, I could go till 7. Yeah,
At least go.
Yeah.
does that work?
Yeah, well, it's better than having not.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so I can do
Yes.
that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
That's the catch up, we're all caught up. I think you did. Was there something else?
No, sorry.
We were just counting, that's okay. I think that's us for elected news exchange, unless there's something else that's bumped to the top as we've been talking. What was I saying for now? Oh, yes, fantastic stuff going forward, and as we're going into winter now, there's all sorts of different stuff that comes up and becomes important in our areas, and especially weather changing and storms and stuff. So it's interesting to see how seasons change what bubbles to the top. So yeah, always good to hear a report back from everybody and what's happening in your areas. Thank you very much. I think that's the end of this part of our meeting today. So we shortly will close with the karakia, and then we will start with the workshop again at 11:20, Tyrone. So just FYI.
11:20?
Yeah, if you're
Roger
able to
that.
make that, we will be back during our business, or you can just hang in there. You're on Zoom, but just you'll know that we're going off live stream shortly. So we'll close with the karakia for this part. So you stand for that. Getting the words up on the screen. There they are, beautiful.
Kia wātia, kia mama, kia naka, tina nana, te wāroa i te aratata. Koe ara roa, whakareria, ake i roa, kia tina, tina, hui, ake.
Thank you very much, Julie.